Good morning, one and all present here. This is Sarala. I'm going to give a seminar on the topic ARP, which is one of the topic in the data communication and network. Before entering into the topic, let us see what is the objective of this subject. So the first object to understand the division of the network functionality into layers. Second one to be familiar with the components required to build different types of network. And third one to categorize various unicast and multicast protocol and their functionality. And fourth objective is to learn the different flow control and congestion control algorithm. And fifth one to illustrate the various service offered by the application layer. Next, let us see what are the course objectives. On completion of this course, the students will be able to identify the components required to build different types of network. And second objective course outcome will be to choose the required functionality at each layer for given application. And third objective, that is a course outcome, will be identify solution for each functionality at each layer. And fourth course outcome will be to trace the flow of the information from one node to another node in the network. And fifth outcome will be to understand and differentiate various unicast and multicast protocol for routing data. And sixth outcome will be to code the various utilities of application layers and their functionalities. Now let us see a topic ARP. So what is ARP? ARP is nothing but the address resolution protocol. It is one of the protocol. So one of the protocol of the network layer. So network layer will be having different protocol like ICMP, IGMP, and also it has a protocol like ARP and RARP. So what is ARP? So ARP is nothing but it is one of the internet based on the that we all know that internet is based on the IP address. So the data, let us see some of the data link protocols like Ethernet, FTDI, ADM. So which will access with the help of the MAC address. So there are two types of address. One is called as a MAC address and another one is the IP address. So IP address is nothing but the internet protocol address, whereas MAC address is nothing but the medium access control address. So whenever we try to get a system, so that system will be provided with address which is called as a MAC address of 48-bit address. So after getting the system, what we will do, we will try to associate the system to the internet. So whenever we associate our system to the internet, so the internet will provide us one address. That address is called as IP address, which is of 32-bit. So now let us see what is the role of ARP. So you all know ARP is nothing but the address resolution protocol. So whenever you want to know the MAC address, okay, so system know the IP address but it does not know the MAC address. So whenever the system want to fetch the MAC address, so it will use the ARP address. So how the ARP address will be given? Suppose if you consider a server. So server, let us consider that the server know the MAC address. For example, let us consider the MAC address is as 128 is to that is the system know the IP address. Okay, so let us consider the IP address of that server be 128.143.71.1. Okay, some IP address. Okay, so that but the particular server know its IP address and it does not know its MAC address. So how it will find out its MAC address? So with the help of ARP. So what happens? This server will give the ARP request to the other destination. So the destination which receives this request, whichever having that particular IP address will send that MAC address. So like that the ARP with the help of ARP protocol, the particular server can able to identify its MAC address with